Okay, since everyone's back, moving to our next segment, um, have you ever wondered how lenders view self-employed income? Right? Want to know more? With a wealth of experience under their belt, acquired over a decade working and leading teams at Macquarie, CBA, NAB. I don't think there are any banks left. You've worked at all of them. Erin and Siobhan have now set up their own consulting business where they provide really personalized mortgage broking solutions. And today, they're going to share an insider's view on how lenders view our self-employed income. So with that, I will hand over to Erin and Siobhan.
We're multifaceted here.
So thank you so much for having us today, Kavita and the BackBone team. We really do appreciate it. My name is Erin Williams and I'm joined here with Siobhan Burke. We are the founders of Broadstreet Finance. So we have 20 years experience in the mortgage broking and third-party industry, and we've recently just gone out and started our own company called Broadstreet Finance. So what we aim to do for our clients is create financial freedom and also help them with financial literacy.
What we thought we'd do today is have a little bit of interactive session. So we're going to ask a couple of questions. They're about our industry and things you may or may not know. So you can just put your answer in the chat box and then we'll tell you what it is. The first thing that we wanted to go over is, what do you think the actual market share for mortgage brokers with consumers is in presently? So this just came out very recently for us. Do you think it's A, 50% of consumers go with brokers, B, 72%, C, 26%, or D, 37%? I'll give you a couple. Oh, just there's a chat.
Going through.
Yep. Excellent. It's so a few of you were definitely correct there. Oh, we've got a few different answers. It's actually B, 72%. So what that tells you is 7 out of 10 consumers make the choice to work with mortgage brokers for their finance. And that just comes down to mortgage brokers have choice, which actually leads me into the next slide, is lenders. So how many lenders do you think mortgage brokers actually have access to? Is it more 25 plus, B, 15 plus, C, 10 plus, or D, 5 plus? I'm going to assume almost everyone has used a broker here because you all have the answer right. It's A, 25 plus. So the mortgage brokers have access to more than just your major lenders. We've got access to your majors, your second tiers, your non-conforming, which is the lenders that will help some people that might have some credit impairments, things like that, or maybe some short ABNs. And also some of our non-conforming and commercial guys. So we've got an array of banks that we work with and we work very closely with to get the outcome. The last question I'll make you guys answer is, how much do you think it costs to do business with, we're going to make this specific to Broadstreet. This is pretty general across the industry as well. Is it A, 500, B, 350, C, $1,000, or D, 0? A couple of different answers. I like it. Okay. Do you know, this one's really interesting because a lot of people are really surprised. It's actually D, 0. So working with your mortgage broker for your general consumer requirements, when I say consumer, just talk about normal home loans, asset finance, things like that. Brokers get paid the same from all banks. It's a commission. So what that means is we're actually governed by a thing called best interest duty, which means that anytime that we look at you and your financial position, we have to have your best interest at heart. We're also legislative as well. Oh, it was a negative 5,000.
I like
Love
that.
it. And because of that, we're not governed by anything other than the fact that your best interest is at heart, and we have to make sure that we've put you in the right loan for the right reasons, and it's getting you to that end goal that you want.
So how can we support you as business owners, whether that's through residential home loans, commercial finance, asset finance, or personal loans? There is a bit of a misconception that because you are self-employed that it may be difficult to obtain a loan, which is absolutely not the case. We have quite a few self-employed clients. And because, as Siobhan was saying before, we have access to over 25 lenders. Different lenders look at different ways with your income. So we have the traditional way of, the 2 years financials, but then we have other lenders that will look at some really interesting ways. So if you pay yourself a wage, for example, they will use that for servicing. Even if you have a short-term ABN, it doesn't mean that that's a no for you as well. There are lenders out there who will take people who are self-employed who have short-term ABNs as well. So we wanted to bust that myth because you are business owners and you are self-employed or your clients are self-employed. There is always a way. It's very rare that we'll say no to someone. And please reach out if you have any questions for us, for you or for your clients. If you want to pick our brain about something, please, our details are there. We're more than happy to have a conversation. Thanks, Kavita.
Thanks, Erin. Thanks, Siobhan. Any questions from the group?
Yeah, I do. How do you differentiate in such a huge market? And I've got friends who are brokers as well. How do you differentiate you from everybody else?
It's a really great question because there's a lot of mortgage brokers out there. I think it's probably the most that there's ever been in the industry. I think there's something like 19,000 mortgage brokers at the moment nationally. I think it's our point of view and our point of difference is our experience. Like we're got a wealth of knowledge, having been in corporate finance for the last 20 years. So we know how the banks think. We've also got incredible contacts internally. So having worked at an array of banks, we've actually know a lot of the guys that work in and assess the deals. Not saying we can obviously make them make a decision, to be very clear. But like we understand the way the banks think. And I think the difference between a good mortgage broker is knowing how the banks think, knowing what the banks want, but also knowing what the banks don't want, right? The banks don't need to have everything. They need what they need, and making sure that you're succinct and what you provide and able to get that one-touch approval. We're incredibly successful in getting one-touch approval. So what that means is we know exactly what to submit, we know exactly what to comment on, we know exactly how to structure it. Those are the 3 key points for a good broker to get a good outcome. You don't want to be going to 5 different banks trying to workshop it. It should be workshopped up front before anything goes through, and you're able to go straight through and have that confidence that you're going to get that approval. And we give that to our customers every day. And I think that's one of our differentiating points. And then we also do what we do differently as well is we do a lot of post-settlement stuff. So just because you come with us and we get that transaction done, we do a 6-monthly review to reprice you, making sure you're on the best rate. And if you're not, we'll make sure that you constantly are competitive in the market. So we are very much around high touch from start to and continuing on post-settlement.
But if I can add to that, because I've interacted with the team before, I think it's more about the best interest in mind and then being the best in the circle around it. So yes, there are so many people out there, but who has the best interest and taking a more of a consultative approach? Sorry, I thought just jumping.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I love that. Not only was that a fantastic answer, but I love that Rusty jumped in to vouch for you. We need to see more of that happening on the platform as well. By the way, if you do go and vouch for each other, you both earn 100 credit points, and also it boosts your searchability. So just saying, maybe